Actually, I'm as much nervous about the fact that our population is 8 billion or something right now worldwide, as I am about the fact that, you know, a few million people would be killed by COVID-19. I mean, I don't want to be callous about this, but from the big picture, it seems like that's much more of a problem. Overpopulation, people not dying, is ultimately more of a problem than people dying. So, you know, that probably sounds incredibly callous to your listeners, but I think it's simply, you know, a sober assessment of the situation.
Is there ways from the way those 8 billion or 7 billion or whatever the number is live that could make it sustainable? You know, because you've kind of implied there's a kind of we have, especially in the West, this kind of capitalist view of really consuming a lot of resources. Is there a way to, like, if you could change one thing or a few things, what would you change to make this life, make it more likely that your grandchildren have a better life than you?
Well, okay, so let's talk a bit about energy, because that's something I know a lot about, having thought about it most of my career. In order to reach a steady state CO2 level, okay, that's acceptable in terms of global climate change and so on and so forth, we need to reduce our carbon emissions by at least a factor of 10 worldwide, okay? What's more, you know, the average energy consumption, and hence CO2 emission, of people in the world is less than a tenth of what we, per capita, than what we have in the West, in America and Europe and so forth. So if you have in mind some utopia in the future where we've reached a sustainable use of energy, and we've also reached a situation in which there's far less inequity in the world, in the sense that people share the energy resources more uniformly, then what that is equivalent to would be to reduce the CO2 emissions in Western economies, not by a factor of 10, but by a factor of 100. In other words, it has to go down to 1% of what it is now, okay?
Yeah.
So, you know, when people talk about, you know, let's use natural gas because, you know, maybe it only uses 60% of the energy of coal. It's complete nonsense. That's not even scratching the surface of what we would need to do. So, you know, is that going to be feasible? I very much doubt it. And therefore, I actually doubt that we can reach a level of energy, of fossil energy use that is 1% of the current use in the West, without totally dramatic changes either in, you know, our society, our use of energy and so forth, which actually, of course, is much of that energy is used for producing food and so on and so forth. So it's actually not so obvious that we can cut down our energy usage by that factor. Or we've got to reduce the human population.
So you run up against that number that's increasing still. And you don't think there could be
It's depressing.
No, it's not. It's not depressing. It's difficult, like many truths are. Do you have a hope that there could be a technological solution?
In short, no. There is no technological solution to, for example, for population control. I mean, we have the technology just, you know, to prevent ourselves bearing children. That's not a problem. Technology's in, okay? Solved. The challenge is society. The challenge is human choices. The challenge is almost entirely human and sociological, not technology.